News this morning, the search continues for two Breathitt County women who have been missing since historic flooding devastated our region. And an Eastern Kentucky Fire Department partners up with several organizations to help service those who may have been impacted by the flooding.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good Monday morning to you. I'm Dakota Makris, and it's just before 5 o'clock. Thank you so much for starting your week out with us. And let's take it over to a special guest, Chief Meteorologist Emeritus, Paige Noel. Paige, good morning to you. How you been?
Good morning, good morning. It's good to be back this week. I know you guys have been dealing with a lot here, so giving Brandon Cameron a little bit of a break this week, so you'll get me a few days. But happy to be waking up with you on this morning, hopefully for some better weather as we head throughout the week. I know you guys definitely need it and want it, and the good news is we have some of that. Now, we are going to be dealing with a few just kind of spotty to scattered rain and storms, dealing with a few of those early this morning. If into Pikeville, you could be hearing some of that heavy rain. No lightning in this, but kind of just north of Pikeville, right on that Pike to Floyd County line. Very isolated downpours over there. We got a little one here at the station in Hazard as well. We heard it on the roof just moments ago. Mostly just kind of some light rain, so could be seeing that kind of on and off this morning. Looking over to Moorhead, name of the game, definitely seeing some patchy to dense fog early this morning, and with some of those wet roads, take it easy as you're stepping out the door, but visibility pretty low from Jackson to Prestonsburg to Pikeville, and then of course down towards Letcher, Harlan, a little bit into parts of Bell County, and a little bit even down into parts of eastern Tennessee there, into parts of Campbell County there. Temperatures into about the upper 60s right now, 68 Hazard to 68 Manchester, 71 there in London to 68 right now Williamsburg. It's a little bit on that muggy side out there. Temperatures pretty mild though as we head throughout the next couple of hours. We are tracking a few scattered storms becoming more spotty as we head throughout the week. I have more details on that coming up.
All right, Paige, thank you so much. Well, search and rescue teams were back out in Breathitt County during the weekend, searching for two women who are still missing more than 2 weeks after floodwaters devastated the region. 60-year-old Vanessa Baker and 29-year-old Nancy Cundiff had not been seen since the floods. In a Facebook post, the London Laurel Rescue Squad said emergency management has requested its help in searching for the missing women. Officials said Powell County and Lee County search and rescue teams were also responding, as well as a canine forensics team from Frankfort. On Saturday, crews found areas of interest in the 476 and Lower River Caney areas. They asked for continued support and prayers during their efforts. ARH has been raising money and collecting donations for employees and other flood survivors in eastern Kentucky. Grayson Passmore shares one of their unbelievable stories of survival.
We got little bags, put little drawstring bags on their backs, got just a few personal items. I had to think quickly because it was so fast, and by the time we left our house, the water was over halfway up our steps.
Leanne McIntyre and her family were asleep in their Perry County home the night of the flood. Her mom drove over, waking them up quickly, but the water was rising just as fast.
By the time I got dressed and got to the front porch, the water was in the driveway, and within 5 minutes we saw my car float off down the road.
McIntyre knew they had to get to high ground somehow, even in the dead of night.
Start climbing up the mountain. We had to somewhat crawl because the ground was so wet you couldn't just walk. We were falling, but we had a neighbor's house that was high up, and we went to their house and they hosted us for that whole night and the rest of the next day till the waters went down, till we could get out.
As McIntyre climbed to safety, with her 11 and 9-year-old by her side, she wondered if the water would ever stop rising.
Being a parent, you're trying to keep your kids calm and stay a positive attitude, but then you're watching everything you work hard for just kind of float away.
Trying to distract her kids from what McIntyre recalls as the scariest part of that night.
It was dark, and I guess as things were hitting the power poles and the power lines, they were crack and spark. And so in silence of a night and in the darkness, you could just hear it random places and throughout the community.
Thankful to be alive. As reality started to sink in the light of the next day,
That house, my mom actually brought me home from the hospital to that house. So that I kind of somewhat grew up in that house and had that house ever since in my adult life.
Now it's a total loss. On the side of that mountain, the McIntyres watched everything they've worked for float away.
You know, it's not the future we planned, but it's the future we're given, and I think everybody just has to make the best of what we have, you know.
That was Grayson Passmore reporting. ARH is still collecting and delivering donations. McIntyre says ARH has been so helpful to her family during this time. Well, from preparing home-cooked meals to handing out supplies, the Mayking Fire Department in Letcher County has received help from across the Commonwealth and beyond. And thanks to the generosity of local and statewide organizations, the fire department is offering free showers, laundry services, and purified water to the people of Letcher County.
Having somewhere for someone to come and get a hot meal, take a nice warm shower, and do their laundry so they can feel fresh, that's what we need to do for the citizens of this place.
Well, those with the fire department say these are just some of the many services they are happy to offer to people in need, in their time of need rather. If you are willing to help the department's efforts, they say they are in need of volunteers. In addition to statewide support the Mayking Fire Department has received, the department had some visitors from the volunteer state come up and deliver supplies. Heather and Brian Necessary from Whitesburg, Tennessee, traveled to the Mayking Fire Department to deliver water, food, and cleaning supplies. After hearing about the devastation that took in their neighboring state, they knew they wanted to help in any way they could.
It's good to help other people whenever, you know, they're down on their luck, and hopefully they don't have to return the favor, but, you know, we're the volunteer state, so that's what we're here for.
Necessary says the pair were able to raise $3,000 with the help of friends and family to help purchase the 260 cases of water they dropped off at the fire department. Well, thank you so very much for getting your Monday morning started with us here on Mountain News this morning. When we come back, scientists believe a large portion of the food we eat may be in danger as some of the most important pollinators remain at risk.
And we're tracking out just a few scattered storms today, more spotty tomorrow. I'll have a look at that 7-day forecast coming up.